Another really cool thing you can do is combine words with images. And I know that sounds kind of elementary, but that really is, the most powerful way to get an idea across, and you can get some really unexpected results that way. And that's why, most graphic design combines imagery and type, because with those two things together, you can make a much more powerful image than if you just have image or just have type. You can get a much more powerful idea across. Um, and there's an example about sort of the different things you can get when you combine words and images. They can be very expected, but if you get a nice juxtaposition going, it can be very unexpected, and you can really get the viewer to start thinking about concepts and ideas. On 192, there's an example of that. There's three pictures of the same image of an airplane. One has the caption "Journey" underneath it. You think about traveling. The next one underneath it says "Freedom," and that's that whole idea of going anywhere you want to. Then the third one says "Terror." So that creates it's the same image, but just that one word just totally changes the idea behind it. Now you start thinking about terrorism and 9/11 and hijackings and things like that. In that same vein, underneath it, we have three different images with the same word. So that kind of shows how you can, another way you can play with that. Lust is the word, and one there's some looks like me, I think. No, there's a naked torso, buff guy. Then there's a woman eating chocolate with red lips, and then there's gold. So that's kind of the physical lust versus money lust versus maybe food lust or something like that. All these different concepts you can get by combining words and images. Another example on the next page, on 193, is this pink spread. It's got hot and cold water faucets, and it says flexibility. And together, those things work really well. Where separate, if it was just an image of the hot and cold water, be like, what the hell does that mean? Or if it was just the word flexibility, be like, okay, show me more. But when you combine these two things, it kind of creates this this metaphor in your head, this idea like we're flexible. We can be hot, cold, which is a metaphor for we can do what the client wants us to do, something like that. I hope you're starting to see how powerful images can be. I mentioned visual metaphors before, and that is a very popular kind of device used in advertising these days. Is kind of this odd juxtaposition or combining images in a way that is not natural and really kind of gets you thinking. And I have graciously given you a PDF with lots of examples of visual metaphors in advertising. And there's some really, really, really good ones. There's one in the book on 194 that kind of got me started with this idea. The looks like tubes of lipstick, but the way they're presented, it's kind of gives this connotation of bullets. So, and that I think it talks about in the book, gender relations and aggression. But that whole idea of substituting one object with another object that maybe looks similar to it, but has a completely different idea behind it, is really powerful for kind of catching the viewer's attention and getting them to think. Some of the ones that I gave you in this PDF that you can find in the assignment part of this week's folder. There's one that has the different network logos like ABC and NBC and CBS, has them in the ocean, and it looks like they're drowning. And so that could be a really useful image if you're doesn't have an article about how the networks are not doing so well financially these days, something like that. There's another one that has the bull market on Wall Street. There's that big statue of a bull. It has that statue kind of laid down like it's dead. I think that's the cover of a magazine. And it's kind of talking about what will we do if the stock market crashes and that kind of stuff. There's another one that I put on there, kind of controversial, I guess, but it's a very powerful image. I saw it online. It's like, yeah, that's got to go there. And it's two cigarettes on a blue background, and there's all this smoke coming up. And at the bottom, there's a little caption saying how many people have died from terrorist attacks, and how many people have died from smoking-related injuries. And it's just a really powerful visual metaphor because these two cigarettes looks like the 9/11, the World Trade Center towers after they've been hit, and that's just an iconic image that everybody knows because you've all seen the smoke coming up from that. but then they've used that to create this anti-smoking ad. And regardless of what you think about smoking, it's a very powerful advertisement. There's another one for, I think, breath mint or something, and it's a person that has a dirty sock coming out of their mouth, like a tongue. And that's just, because of people having these, we all have similar experiences. We all have different experiences, which makes it a little tricky, but we all have similar ones too. For instance, dirty gym socks, we all know that they stink. So that's something that you can use reliably. When you have that coming out of a person's mouth, you're going to get this idea of, stinky breath, and, you need a breath mint. And also, with all of these, you can kind of go back. Once you look at the visual metaphor, the thing that's prominent kind of in your face, go back and look at them. Look at the composition. Look at where things are on the page and how that affects the message. For example, the one that I just mentioned, the breath mint one, there's a gym sock coming out of the mouth, but it's up here in the left corner of the page, which you see that, and then your eyes start scanning, and then it sees the logo down at the bottom right, kind of juxtaposed to it on the page, and it just reinforces that idea, kind of leads the eye. So you can look at the composition and kind of see how designers are, implementing these ideas too. So that's pretty much all I got. Just the most important thing is to be conscious of how you use imagery, and don't take the easiest approach. The easiest approach is seldom the best approach in graphic design and in life in general. So you really want to think about how can I improve the message with imagery, not just how can I supplement it, how can I really make this stronger and improve the message, maybe even add to it. And that's where image combined with typography and words or other images, you can really just the sky's the limit. You can accomplish whatever you want to. So let's talk about your assignment. I think this will be a pretty fun assignment too. We're going to play with this idea of visual metaphors. So look, that PDF that I gave you that has all the different visual metaphor advertisement examples. Look through that and start to get a feel for how these things can be used. And we're going to do kind of a brainstorming concept assignment this week. I'm going to give you a list of a few social issues, maybe 5 or 6, something like that. And I want you to think, I want you to brainstorm, and in the same vein of visual metaphor, like the ads that we've seen that combine these things that shouldn't necessarily be together, or take an object and put it in a place where it's not normally seen. I want you to think about ways to create a visual metaphor that would support these ideas. For example, if one of these social issues was, world hunger, what would be an image that could really intensify that message? Maybe it's a picture of a globe with a rib cage showing through on the sides, or a globe that's not round anymore, now it's skinny in the middle, or something like that. That's just an example. Now, I think it'd be very hard for you to find some of these ideas in imagery, just looking online or something. So I don't want you to, you don't have to find these images. You don't have to create these. I want you to write for each one, for each issue that I list. I want you to write a paragraph describing the image that you've come up with, the concept the idea that you have in your head, and how you would use that in a, you can pretend it's an advertising campaign or a poster or something like that. But I want you to really describe, kind of create this this picture, so I can see what you're thinking by the way you describe it. I have a feeling that once you get into this, you're really going to want to carry this through, to kind of bring your ideas to life. So by all means, if you can find images that go along with your visual metaphor, if you can create these, then you're more than welcome to do so by collage or Photoshop, however you want to do it. But you don't have to, because I don't want that to limit you. Oh, the sky's the limit. I want you to really get creative and think about what would be a very arresting image, what's really going to get somebody's attention, and really kind of carry the idea that's in print to the next level by using image. Okay, and I'll post your assignments from last week, like usual. We're moving on to the last chapter after this, and then we got a few other things to do this semester. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you soon. Bye.